Hi, everybody. This is Miko Yuk, and welcome to How to Master Data Storytelling in 30 Days. I'm so excited to have you guys here with me for the next 4 weeks, and I just want to thank you for trusting me. This course is what I consider to really be the beginning of a revolution in the way that we change how BI is approached. So, to get started, I wanted to share with you the game plan. And so, the game plan for this is I'm going to go over what you learn, the outcomes, right? I mean, outcomes are important, right? At the end of this course, what are you going to have? What are you going to get? The guide to the content. So there's a lot of content in here that, again, it's condensed. As I stated when I did the webinar, essentially this is about a 5-day workshop condensed into 4 weeks of online content. But the beauty of it is that because I'm going to hand walk you guys through each of it, it's going to be a lot easier. And most importantly, let's have some fun. So I know that going through this, right, there are going to be some challenges and some frustrations, but my job as a trainer and someone who's been through this is to eliminate 99% of the guesswork for you. So I'm really glad that you decided to take the course, and I can assure you and guarantee you that if you follow the steps and you use the tools that I'm going to give you in our toolkit, that you're absolutely going to wow your users and ace this process. Now, remember, I was like you guys. So I started out, I had no idea what was happening. And believe me when I tell you, I'm excited here to be able to share this knowledge after years and years of testing. Okay, so let's get started. So you probably noticed that there's 4 modules, right? In this module, we're going to really go over the introduction. And so we're going to go over some foundational items. So we're going to review the overall process, right? And then we're going to go over what's in the toolkit. So you know what you have. You guys have a quiz in there. You have some exercises. But the whole focus with this introduction to data storytelling is really to help you understand some of the fundamentals of your existing process and to prepare you for what you're about to learn, right? Before we get into really the weeds of the process. In the second module, we're going to focus on how to create your first actionable data story with your users. And so personally for me, this is probably one of the funnest modules just because of the fact that you actually get to learn how to use a storyboard. And if you're in the US, you received a printed copy or you'll be receiving one. If you're not, I'm going to recommend and show you guys how you need to go ahead and print those storyboards because let me tell you, walking in with nothing in your hands, guys, into these requirement gathering meetings is an absolute no-no. Then in module 3, we're going to focus on really how to build out your data story wireframe. So it's one thing to create your story. It's a whole nother thing now to start to visualize it. And so this is where, it gets really exciting. But the reality is that if you don't handle this process properly, it can get out of hand. So we're going to show you literally how to take your story and translate it into a one-to-one wireframe. And then we're going to show you how to apply design, right? Woohoo! Everybody's favorite part. I love design. A matter of fact, this whole course could have been design, right? But blah, we have to go back and we have to make sure we focus on what's in the pretty dashboards or reports, right? But anyway, so we're then going to show you in that module 4 how to design now your wireframe and add branding and do all those things very quickly. And then we're going to wrap up by showing you how to put this into practice. And when I say put it into practice, I'm not just talking about like, oh, I show up with a storyboard. There are some very key factors to how you do things, like how you conduct the workshops, right? How you use the storyboards, how you work with them. So without trying to give you, without making sure that I don't do data overload, I'm definitely going to give you guys like these steps of how to put this into practice in the real world and help you understand how to overcome some objections you may get from users, some questions about, this is agile or scrum, how does it fit? We'll discuss all of that stuff. Now, within each module, each step is basically laid out for you, and there are exams included to ensure that you understand the content. And I say that because a lot of courses simply go through the material, but I actually take the time to include exams that are well taught through with answers because I really want to make sure that if there is a question that you missed, I want to make sure that you're able to go back and review those sections, right? That's why you have access to the class for over a year. I'm also going to show you a few real world storyboards. Again, this is very touchy and difficult, and I admit to you that while they're real world, we've definitely modified them a bit because we don't want to get into trouble, right? Even though clients have agreed, you do have to change the data because it can get a little bit touchy. But I'm going to go through one or two of those with you so you guys can have an understanding, right? And then within each module, it's very important. There's going to be videos, there's going to be PowerPoints. And so the important thing here is that you guys will have everything you need to go through this course, the ability to look at it on any device. And so personally, I like our platform because I've taken other courses on here and I tend to like consume it on the phone in the gym. I consume it on the go in planes and different areas. So we particularly chose the most flexible platform because we wanted you guys to have the best experience. So the next question is, well, now that we've went through the game plan and each module, what is the outcome? I mean, let's face it, right? We're on here to get something out of it. Well, the first outcome is at the end of this course, you will have your first data story completed and visualized. That is very cool. And again, at the end of this, I would recommend that you take a look at what you've been doing and take a look at what you've created. And I think you'll be surprised with the ease of how this flows, right? I hope you guys have that, like, I call it that dopamine release moment where you're like, wow, this is great. You'll also have the tools that you need to get moving in the real world. So this is really, really important, right? This is not a theoretical class. It was theory 3 or 4 years ago when we started testing. Now it's factual. Now the process is in place. And if you follow the steps and use the tools, you will succeed. You also have access to a community where you'll be able to network with a number of like-minded individuals who are interested in this topic, right? Not to mention, I'm in there and you can chat with me. So while I do have a day job and I do not have time to be in the group all day, I do visit the group multiple times. I do ever warn you that we're just getting started, so just bear with us as we get our bearings here and we begin to add people to the group, but you can feel free to jump in and engage. And last but not least, you'll get a beautiful certificate of completion that you can then put on your resume and you can put on your LinkedIn profile that you are an official data storyteller, okay? So really, really important stuff. So if that's not enough, let's talk about what else is in this course. So number one, we have the live Q&A schedule. So the way that the Q&As are structured is that per quarter, they'll happen about 4 times per quarter, and the schedule will be both emailed to you and posted in Facebook. And this is really important because if you have questions, you can always go in and ask them. There's multiple channels, whether it's email or it's a Facebook channel, right? But if you want to have a live discussion, you can join one of the Q&As and you can have a live discussion with me. Also, if you're unable to attend the live Q&As, we are going to provide the recordings right here in the back end. And what I'll say about this, because we intend to have this class ongoing with hundreds of students, the live Q&As will kind of recycle out. I think we're going to do it almost every 2 quarters so that it doesn't get overbearing. But if there's one that we feel that is super, super, super successful or useful, we'll keep it up. In addition, we've decided that we're going to focus our templates in this course into Power BI and sometimes Tableau templates. So as an added bonus, we are going to provide actual templates that you guys can use within these tools to go forward and build. And then, as I mentioned, there is that bonus module, which I described, which is going to tell you how to put this into practice and to really overcome issues with your users, okay? So lots of good stuff here. So how do you get the most out of this course, right? I'm going to give you guys my advice. And I say this because what's more important to me is that you guys leave this course with a great understanding, but also that you guys implement. So the first step is to make sure that you take the time to understand each step and then move to implement the step immediately. And when I say this, I do realize that not everybody is in a project where they can get started today or they have a project ready. But if you do, I recommend that you learn and you implement. You learn and you implement. If you don't have an exact project today, take a project you already worked on, go backwards with it and start the story, okay? Then don't be afraid to go back through a module. So again, some of these modules, guys, are a bit thicker than others. So feel free to go back if you need to go through it and start, and rewind and go forward. That's why we have videos. That's why we have content. So don't be afraid to go back through modules. A very important next piece of advice. Make sure that you go in order. It's a set process that we've tested. So if there's one way to not use this course and to go around in circles, is to skip steps or go in a different order. And I say this particularly for people that may look at this and think, oh, this is easy. Let me just get to design. Let me just get to wireframe and I already have a story. Listen, the way that we do stories is very unique. Okay, it makes a lot of sense once you understand it, but pretty please do not skip steps. We literally did a use case with Shell that I'm hoping to provide as a part of your bonuses, where they actually talked about the fact that when it comes to our methodologies, do not skip steps. And they're one of our biggest champions in the world. So it's important that you go step by step. And then make sure you have fun. One of the things that you learn is that your enthusiasm is contagious to your users. Seriously, if you go in and you're bored and you look a bit uninterested, your users are going to be bored and uninterested. So you want to make sure that you go in with a lot of enthusiasm because it's absolutely contagious. And most importantly, you want to make sure that you enjoy it. All right, guys, like as I said, I was once in your shoes, whether you're a beginner or a veteran. I had no idea what I was doing when I started out advisor. And it was very daunting. And so believe me when I tell you, if I had a course like this when I started, it would have saved me a lot of time, but I didn't. And I had to learn a lot of very hard lessons, right? Today, I'm known to be a master of this process, I'm considered to be like almost a master facilitator. And the reason being is because I've spent a lot of time studying and understanding. It didn't just come by going in these rooms. I did a lot of studying offline about, emotional quotients and socialization and all these different elements. And what we've compacted here is the best of the best so that you don't have to go through it. So with that said, I appreciate you guys. I would love if you took the time after you got out of here to leave a comment in Facebook. Let me know who you are. And again, thank you. You guys are awesome. I look forward to the next 4 weeks.